All of us know people whose lives have been touched by tragedy, depression, and despair. I believe it's because we're disconnected and that there's a way back to connection, and that's what I'm here to talk about. Over 30 years ago, I listened to a program by Dr. Leo Buscaglia. It was simply called Love. Dr. Buscaglia was a professor at the University of Southern California, and a student in one of his classes committed suicide. It was devastating to him that someone could feel so alone and so disconnected, and that he hadn't known she was suffering, nor had others. He felt compelled to do something about it, and he began exploring the ideas of disconnectedness and the meaning of life, and after a lot of soul searching, started a non-credit course at USC called Love 1A, teaching the importance of human connection. Since college, I'd been searching to confirm my belief that love was the most important thing in life, that it was life. I'm one of those people always asking, who am I? Why am I here? What's the meaning of life? One semester, rather than going to one of my classes, I'd gone to an encounter group. It turned out to be an extraordinary experience of love and connection that lasted long after. And here was Dr. Buscaglia teaching love. I remember so clearly saying to myself, that's what I want to do. What could be more exciting, more interesting, but truly more important? So who would have imagined more than 30 years later, I'd be standing here talking to you about love? And that mushrooms got me here. Since 2000, I have worked in the Department of Psychiatry at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine in our research with psilocybin, or as many refer to it, magic mushrooms. We have conducted multiple studies with psilocybin, including cancer end of life with anxiety and depression, smoking cessation, and major depressive disorder, among others. We recently received a $17 million grant to open a center for psychedelic and consciousness research and build on our work. We will be conducting a wide range of studies, from anorexia nervosa and early stage Alzheimer's to PTSD and opioid addiction. The grant is impressive, and it reflects the success of our research. Here are some findings from our cancer study at the 6-month follow-up. Approximately 80% showed clinically significant decreases in anxiety and depression. And almost 70% called it one of the top 5 spiritually significant experiences of their lives. There is a lasting impact for many of our study volunteers. Our smoking cessation pilot study outcomes, although just 15 people, is unprecedented, more than double the average abstinent rates. 80% were abstinent at the 6-month follow-up, 67% at the 12-month follow-up, and 60% at the 2.5-year follow-up. And preliminary results of our depression study at the 1-month follow-up, almost 70% of our 24 volunteers showed clinically significant improvement, and 50% full remission to normal. Depression is a vexing problem. For half of our volunteers to be in full remission is remarkable. If these results hold over time, it could be a major breakthrough in treatment for depression. And through my time at Hopkins, I have had the extraordinarily privileged position of witnessing hundreds of these volunteer sessions. And what I have seen emerge at the core of the experience is love and connection, a reconnecting to our true, authentic self. For many, these experiences gave voice to something unexpected, a realization that confirmed these beliefs. One volunteer said, "I was full of love and joy and connection. It was an awesome outpouring of love. It really struck me vividly that love is home. It is natural and present when obstacles are removed. Study volunteers come to us with a wide range of issues, and you've seen some of the measurable results of the psilocybin experience. I imagine some of you may think these results are unbelievable. It may even lead you to want to go out and try it on your own. But our studies are very different from recreational use with friends and at parties. That's one of the very reasons I'm giving this talk, because I believe that results like ours depend on good study design. Our studies are structured in 3 parts. The preparation meetings are where we begin to establish the relationship, the connection with our volunteers, which is essential to provide a safe environment that allows them to trust us, their guides, to give them the courage to be vulnerable and share very intimate parts of their lives without the fear of being rejected. I think we have all had the experience of speaking an undisclosed truth, of divulging something that was buried inside and feeling lighter after, like taking off a mask and revealing ourselves. Intimate conversation is one of the most important practices to assist in this self-disclosure. It's amazing how many times volunteers tell us that they've shared things they've never told anyone before. Sexual assault, wanting to leave their partner, lying, cheating. Some say it's the first time they've been fully seen. And almost all our volunteers tell us how valuable these meetings are. And one said, had it not been for the 2 experienced researchers in the room, I probably would have had a full-blown panic attack and lost the larger experience. Psilocybin is strong medicine. It can be overwhelming. Being prepared for the experience is critical. The preparation enables our volunteers to relax and let go into the second phase, the psilocybin session. When we are tense or blocked, we don't allow the flow. Being relaxed allows this expansion and access to states of consciousness that often bring about a mystical experience that most of our volunteers have endorsed. Mystical experiences are characterized by a transcendence of time and space, deeply felt positive mood, a sense of sacredness, and love and connection to all of life. But it's important to point out that not all our volunteers benefit from our studies, that you don't have to have a mystical experience to have a meaningful or transformative experience, and that these sessions are not always easy. In fact, they can be quite difficult. In preparation, we address possible difficulties, how to stay with them and navigate them during the session, and to see them as an important and meaningful part of the process. I have been witness to many volunteer sessions that were both difficult and had no mystical component at all, and yet were deeply meaningful and transformative. And this brings us back to love and connection. Study after study, volunteer after volunteer, session report after session report, I see the same themes emerge. We are love. The present moment is all there is. There's an interconnectedness to all of life and a deep-rooted knowingness of our true, authentic self. The psilocybin experience offers a means to reconnect to the present, our true nature, our authentic self, to love. One volunteer said this of his experience: "It is a total connection with the universe. It is a state of awareness beyond description, profound, yet one has the deep knowingness that this is our true reality." There's also incredible joy. Hearing the laughter of someone feeling love and connection on a deep level is unlike anything else. Joy itself can be a breakthrough. One of our cancer study volunteers, who had been joyless for years, wrote that this experience was meaningful to her long after the session was over, describing how she began laughing out loud and how that joy-filled experience put her back in touch with a feeling she thought impossible to ever have again. And finally, we incorporate these experiences into day-to-day life. Integration is a key component of each study. Otherwise, it would just be an experience. Integration is weaving the mystical into the practical, bringing the meaning of the psilocybin sessions into daily life. I have observed significant increases in quality of life and personal meaning. Priority shifting, awareness of what's important and letting go of what's not. Increases in patience and increases in a core sense of self. These are some of the observations that reveal the lasting impact that we see in our follow-ups at 1, 6, 12, and some at 14 months. But it's not just the psilocybin that does this. It's the relationship we establish, the awareness the volunteer experiences during the session, and the integration after. This work and nearly 400 study volunteers is what has kept me at Hopkins for 20 years. It is my relationship, my connection with them. That is how I see my role as a psychedelic guide. That is what makes my work so fulfilling, because to me, relationships are what make our lives meaningful. Our studies explore the same questions that had me listening intently to that love program years ago. Only now, rather than my personal exploration, it is that of our study volunteers. Who are you? Why are you here in this study at this time? And what's the meaning of your life? And each person has their own unique exploration. And yet, there's a universal experience too, a deep sense of love and connection to all. One of our depression volunteers told me that she did not feel alone anymore, and she summed it up beautifully. Such an amazing gift that I have been given. Not only the realization of inner peace, but the feeling of connection that I have reestablished for every human on this planet. When Leo Biscaglia was faced with the dilemma of how to make sense of the student who felt so disconnected that she took her life, he chose to start a class on love, knowing that love is the ultimate healer. So imagine the thrill for someone who wanted to do what Dr. Biscaglia did when I took this job, uncertain at first of its value or impact, and found our volunteers confirming this belief over and over, telling me their experience has revealed these simple truths. We are all one. We are all connected. We are all love. That is the potential of the psychedelic medicines, to show us who we really are and what truly matters, and thereby help us to heal ourselves and then the world. So now, imagine a friend or a loved one, or perhaps even yourself, entering one of our studies, struggling with an addiction, thoughts of suicide, or one of the disorders I've mentioned today. Now, imagine that same person exiting our study and reporting that their predominant and lasting feeling is one of love and connection. And now, imagine yourself saying and believing what this volunteer said.
I am love. I am in love. Love is in me. I breathe love. I am loved.
Thank you.